Have you noticed lately that MAGA is now the MAGA that all the people that voted for, all the libertarian podcasters and conservative podcasters who voted for Trump are now upset about Epstein because they're not releasing the Epstein files. But they still voted for Trump, and they would vote for Trump again. If Trump ran tomorrow, they would vote for Trump again. And they would tell their viewers and followers to vote for Trump again. And they're doing something very convenient with the Epstein files and with Gaza. They're blaming Israel. Now, what is going on in Gaza is a genocide committed by the Israeli government towards the people of Palestine. There's no doubt about that. There's no question about that. Set that aside. When I listen to these fucking libertarian podcasters who all told their people to vote for Donald Trump and would vote for Donald Trump again, but are upset about the Epstein files, they're obsessed with children and having sex. They're obsessed. This started with Pizzagate, of course, with QAnon telling the Pizzagate that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were trafficking little children out of the basement of a ping pong pizza place in Washington, D.C. And they were supposedly using in their emails pedophilic language. And this was all promoted by QAnon and promoted especially by Alex Jones. And then, of course, there was a gentleman who showed up there, fired a gun in there, and he's currently serving time in prison. This obsession then shifted to the libs of TikTok, the retard that is the libs of TikTok, and other people claiming that there's a trans agenda to turn your children trans by reading them stories at having drag time story hour for little kids. They're claiming that these children are being sexualized by transgendered women that are dressed up like mascots. They look like the Philly Fanatic, but they're supposedly sexually turning children into transgender, right? And books. There's books in schools that are sexual in nature, but they're homosexual in nature, and we got to get rid of those. And of course, that will lead to getting rid of the classics that have sexual content in them, because nobody should ever read anything that's provocative ever. I mean, these are the most repressed people sexually on the planet Earth, by the way. They're all conservatives, and they are all ashamed of their sexuality. And they want, and this isn't about pedophilia. By the way, and now, okay, so let's calm down, everyone. I'm a little fired up about this. Now it's the Epstein thing. Epstein, he's the greatest pedophile in the world. Everyone's a pedophile. Remember when Elon Musk tried to help the kids that were trapped in Chile in the cave, and they didn't want to use a submarine because it wouldn't work, and he called the guy a pedo? They're all obsessed. They're either obsessed with pedophilia or they call everyone a pedophile. Anybody that disagrees with them becomes a pedophile. Bill Gates is a pedophile because of vaccines. Who else is? All of the Democratic leaders are all pedophiles. Now, first of all, you can make a delineation between what Jeffrey Epstein did with teenage girls, not 7-year-olds, but teenage girls. And he was ushering them around the world, and you can make that argument. But using the term pedophile, guess what that makes it sound like? That you had little kids, you were taking around 7-year-olds and fucking 7-year-olds. Instead of, and by the way, I know the age of consent. It's not a good argument, and I'm not making an argument for Epstein. Epstein should still be alive, and he should be serving prison the rest of his life in prison, and so should Ghislaine Maxwell. But this obsession with the right wing, with pedophilia over everything else, I never hear Dave Smith, Candace Owens and Dave Smith and people like that are on the right. They're libertarians or on the right, but they're against the genocide in Gaza. Your default position should be against genocide. It shouldn't be a choice. You're not noble because you don't want genocide. You're wrong on every other fucking issue, but you're right on one issue. A broken clock is right twice a day. And this blaming Israel shit for American empire, is Israel responsible for the Ukraine war? Is Israel responsible for no health care in this country? And I listen to these people I listen to these assholes talk about how the country is falling apart. The country's falling apart. And this money that goes to Israel could be going into the United States. It could be that's not how this works. That's discretionary budget. That's not how this works. That money needs to be into health and human services. That needs to be the increased budget. But libertarians aren't for that because that would increase taxes. They don't want that. They don't want increased social services. I've heard Dave Smith advocate to arrest homeless people and put them in jail because it's such an epidemic. Bitch, you need money into the cities for this. You need massive influx of government funding to stop or at least curb homelessness. And it's becoming an epidemic in this country. You need government spending to open up sober centers and open up rehabilitation facilities that are not for profit or not run by a nonprofit. You need to get rid of military industrial complex, the police, the for-profit prison industrial complex. You need to start taking money away from the sheriff's departments and things and putting it into community service. But these bitches never advocate for anything like that. They're too busy fucking, I voted for MAGA, but I'm clutching my pearls now because I can't believe that he didn't release the Epstein files. And he's still he hasn't ended the war in Palestine. He was harder on the war in Palestine than anybody else. I mean, the Democrats weren't going to stop it. They didn't want to cease fire. But Trump's talking about, he's retweeting and reposting people creating AI images that are jokes about turning Gaza into like Monte Carlo. These people are fucking fakes. They're phonies, and they all have children. Did you notice that? Dave Smith said he just can't believe, he's outraged when he sees these kids being killed in Gaza, and he thinks about his own children. It always takes them, Candace Owens, the same fucking thing. Where was their outrage? I guess they weren't public, and I won't go that far back. I won't go back to the Iraq and Afghanistan. But Somalia, what's going on in Somalia? Where's their outrage for that? Where's their fucking outrage for all of the clandestine wars that are going on in the country, in the world? 900 military bases outside. Why aren't they ever talking about capitalism and its failures? Because they're libertarians. They love capitalism. They want true free markets, meaning they want no government interaction. They just want babies to stop being killed in Gaza. I do too. But I also want babies to stop being killed in the Ukraine and in Russia and in Somalia and in Syria and in Libya and in Egypt. And I mean, Afghanistan, we can just keep going on in Africa, in the Congo, in Myanmar. I mean, this is the Sudan. These are all American empire wars. These are supported by and induced by the Western power structure, which is what Israel is part of. Israel is a satellite in the Middle East for the United States. No presidential candidate that will exist on the right or left, Democrat or Republican, that will ever get nominated for president will advocate that Israel stops doing what they're doing, stops the genocide in Gaza. They'll never say it. And this is American foreign policy. But these people aren't talking about that. Candace Owens loves the military. She loves police forces. She said that George Floyd should have been killed. He was a drug addict, should die. Black Lives Matter was a con, and it's completely ridiculous and it did no good, and they should be disbanded and arrested. Candace Owens is a fucking cunt, of a lying cunt. Dave Smith is a cunt. They are horrible fucking people. But somehow, because they took the right, and now I have to listen to the left show clips of these assholes at Turning Points USA, run by Charlie Kirk, who is a vehement racist, who is a bigot. He looks like I don't know if you're ever familiar with Joe Kappa. Joe Kappa's a comedian guy. He does these weird paper mache head things. Charlie Kirk looks like a Joe Kappa character. This blaming Israel for American foreign policy and for American empire is fucking hilarious because that's what the empire wants you to do. That's what everybody wants you to do. You're not blaming the United States. Oh, you're blaming them for funding Israel, but you're not blaming it for this being American foreign policy. Neoconservatives, because some of them were Jewish. Most of them are Christians. Most of them are just business interests who want to continue to destabilize that region. They've been doing it since 2000. I don't know what the hell they've been doing it before then. We paid Iranians to kill Iraqis in the mid-'80s. We lured the Soviet Union into Afghanistan. What the fuck are you babbling about? It's all Israel. Why? Because you have TikTok now and you can see babies' heads blown off. I can show you videos of Iraqi children like that, Vietnamese children like that, Cambodian children like that, Afghanistan children like that, Libyan children like that. Why can't you wake up to it's America? No, because you're patriots. Because you love this country because you've made a lot of money in it. You've made a lot of money on your podcast grift to people that you're smarter than, which says something about the people who listen to you, because you're not that smart, let alone funny or interesting or needed or clever. You're just a fucking MAGA. I voted for MAGA, but I'm mad. I'm big mad about Epstein. That's all you're mad about? I mean, at least Joe Rogan's talking about ISIS. Rounding up parents, although Joe Rogan is also very law and order. Joe Rogan also worships the military and worships those fucking special forces goons who come on his show because he thinks they're real men. They're real tough men who went over and killed for corporations. But hey, you know what? They're in super good shape and they can run a mile in 4 minutes with a 50-pound backpack on. So they're superior, better people. No, they're just fucking dullards who didn't use their brains or question authority at all, and now they're killers for the state. So when I hear Israel getting blamed for everything, Israel deserves every bit of blame that it gets. And Gaza is a fucking horrible shit show, nightmare, genocide. But Israel is not the reason you don't have nice things in this country. The reason you don't have nice things in this country is because of capitalism. And because the American foreign policy being so vile is because of American empire. And if you can't talk about capitalism and empire, and you're more concerned with fuck lists for fucking teenage girls, which, oh my God, powerful men like having sex with younger women? No, you're kidding. Wow, unbelievable. And you thought, what did you think? You think all the powerful Democrats and the most powerful people are going to be taken down by a fucking sex scandal? Are you that naive and immature? You've been distracted by Epstein so long that you don't even care about anything else that's going on. Where's your outrage for alligator Alcatraz? Like guys like Benny Johnson, who are complete fucking, I don't know how these guys got popular. I don't know how any of these motherfuckers got popular. But that's what you're concerned. You're not concerned for these fucking people who are being put in cages some of them aren't even criminals. Some of them are just waiting to have a fucking trial to see if they can become American citizens. This is bullshit. Don't believe all of these pearl-clutching, anti-fucking Israel people. They're fucking frauds. They're phonies. They just don't want to see little kids killed. I don't want to see little kids killed. But I also don't make a delineation between Israel and America. I'm not so fucking naive and stupid that I think AIPAC controls America. You know who else is a big lobby? The healthcare industry. But I don't hear any of you talking about that. You know who's a huge lobby? The prison industrial complex. But I don't fucking hear you fucking talking about that. You know who's the biggest lobby? The military industrial complex. I don't really hear you talking about that. You don't talk about the suffering of your own country only in terms of, if we had that money going to here, you're not for socialized medicine. Dave Smith he's for less taxes. These are libertarians. None of these people are talking about empire or capitalism. They're all frauds and phonies. And if they don't talk about those two things and they only blame Israel, you're playing right into the American hand. Oh, well, it's not our fault. It's Israel's fault. They control us with money. Oh, what do? We're only the largest economy and military that's ever existed. We only have more millionaires than anybody else in the world. We only have a da-da-da-da-da. It's a distraction. It's another fucking distraction. It's a horrible distraction. It's a nightmare, but it's nonetheless a fucking distraction. So when you hear Israel, everyone blaming Israel, remember, this is American empire. This is capitalism that is doing this. And Israel is an extension of that.